games. Loss, win, well, that means that it could be a loss coming up. But Consulate can throw a curveball. Order's going to be on the defense first. Elevate on the attack as we enter into the ban phase.
Consulate. Look, not gonna lie, not a big fan of it, but it is what it is. I am a fan of that first ban though. That's pretty exciting coming out from Order. The Yana taken off the board, adds a few less nades available to the attack, and limits some of their intel gathering as well. So quite a unique ban coming out there first, but a fun one nonetheless. Now you would expect the second to be followed up with a Nomad. That would be the most typical expected here on Consulate, or maybe a hard breach, but no, it will be the Nomad to try and prevent some of those runouts, or rather enable some of those runouts to occur.
So for Elevate, obviously we've been seeing Q Confirmed rise to the top of the standings for Stage 2. They're not too far behind, of course, obviously. They've got this game to play, and if they can get a result here, guys, against Order, it would put them all the way back up into tied second, only then 3 points behind Q Confirmed. The biggest thing for them is that, well, who knows what Order is going to show up. Kaid going to be taken off the board by Elevate, so that's Nomad and Kaid both taken off. Order will have the final ban. It is going to be Defender.
It is going to be a Defender, Xenox.
It is.
Thanks for being so observant and providing your deep analytical skills to the broadcast.
People out there who are listening and not watching right now, you know, alt-tabbed or whatever. Just, well, this is what part of the ban phase we're up to.
That's true. If I saw Cousin Xenox pop up, I'd probably alt-tab as well. But nope, Valk will be taken off the board. Lastly, and again on Consulate, Valk is very potent, very difficult to find a lot of those cameras, particularly when they are situated outside, and will force the attack to play in IQ, but that will not be an issue with the Valk taken off the board. Now, as we jump in, Elevate will be starting out on the attack. As we've seen, as of recent, Consulate has trended towards the defense. So Elevate could find their start to be a little bit rough here. Of course, we'll just have to wait and see how aggressive Order will be on their defense.
Yeah, and I think it was brought up by Dev in the pre-show about the defense from Elevate here on Consulate. Well, Order's going to have to try and replicate that themselves, get off to a good start. Clubhouse was all attacker-sided, as we saw before. It was like 7 attacking round wins in a row. So for Order, hopefully for their sake, they can start off nicely here on Consulate defense, where, you know, recently we're seeing a lot of teams, of course, employ that sort of watch through the windows and make it difficult to get inside of the building kind of defense. But I feel like a part of that is slowly starting to get worked out from teams that do take things a little bit slower, guys, and make sure they're not just rushing in, right, and losing players early, at least from the attackers.
Yeah, now one thing as well that is interesting in this lineup is that the Mirror is available, made it through the ban phase, and we can expect her to see some appearances on a few of these objectives, and we are already seeing quite an intriguing setup here from Order. Now, setting up a Mirror in Bathroom is not revolutionary, that's not particularly new, but this particular setup is something I personally haven't seen ever. They've created a rotation from Bathroom in towards Z. They've also used those castle barricades to lock down a lot of those lines of sight, particularly from outside, to try and make it a little bit more tricky for Elevate to pincer in these opponents up above the objective. Now, this is quite aggressive and quite risky from Order, and could allow Elevate to go for a pretty traditional garage take and go for the plan at front white, but I'm liking the innovation that we're seeing here from Order, and we'll have to see whether or not it does pay off.
Yeah, and for Order, they're probably a team that needs to innovate and find new ways to get results. Realistically speaking, they're not going to be able to just rest on their laurels and play sort of old style or continue to sort of play the same way. They need to mix it up a little bit. You know, down the bottom, unfortunately, at the moment, 0-2, -8 round differential. You're going up against stage champions in Elevate. You're going to have to mix it up a little bit. That wall already opened up in front of White Van, though, and they are going to be able to now push in, get some information. DCH, of course, on the Twitch drone. Try and clear out some utility. A lot of time on the clock, though, that we're dealing with here. So for Elevate now, it's making sure they don't make really any mistakes and just play this calmly.
Yeah, measured from Elevate at the moment, 4 players on drones looking to gain intel. That said, they only actually have 4 drones available, so Order have done a great job in countering those drones, preventing them from gaining critical intel, particularly above the site. I don't feel as if Elevate have a great read on this extension, but they do have pretty decent intel in towards the objective. We saw a lot of those drones make it through the breach, and they should know that not everyone from Order is particularly playing hard on site at the moment. Elevate haven't really been able to capitalize upon that just yet, but being Consulate, it really does come down on this particularly based on objective, being explosive when the moment serves right. And they have plenty of time to find that opportunity. They just need to seize it when it appears.
Order know that they need to be the aggressors here, looking to find these opening picks. Can't just allow Elevate to play the basics, you know, smoke up White Van and going for the plant. That plant sticks, then it's going to be very difficult and dire for Order to turn things around. 1 minute on the clock. They're going to open up that second garage wall. They're both opened up now. 50 seconds. Bailey above. Order just feel like they're getting set up here to make a bit of a peek and find that opening pick, and they do that through Nico onto Sapper. That's just at least a one-man advantage now for Order. 40 seconds left as they look to take this opening round.
That extension above droned out by Elevate, but I don't think they really have the time and the resources to try and clear that. It is going to come down to the breach. That's where the diffuser is placed, and the likes of DCH and now Napier from behind really need to have a swift impact. They're going for a 2-2 split on the attack. It's probably the only option that Elevate really have, but pulling it off will be tough.
There's not much time. We're into the red zone, or at least just about. Elevate going to need to find a pick as they look to push in here. Napier from behind, he gets the first shot off. They know where he's coming from now, but he does have information himself, but it doesn't matter. It's over. As clean as you like inside of the final 15 seconds from Order. And they just go bang, bang, bang from all angles as they take the opening round.
Strong start there from Order. A flawless round to kick off proceedings, and I'm sure they'll be stoked with that result, and why wouldn't you? The hold above wasted quite a bit of time. Even when Elevate had the site drone, they didn't feel overly confident in going for an early round execute. They outplayed their opponents on every metric. And that's a solid start for the Aussies.
And this is the thing about Order though, Guz, right? And it almost annoys me at this point when you see them play that way. And that was pretty clean. It was pretty methodical. They didn't do anything too brash or rushed. It was just a really solid defense. Why can't they do that more often?
I wish I could answer that question. I'm sure they wish they could answer that question. I feel like a broken record often when talking about Order. We're always talking about their consistency. And yes, there are definitely mitigating factors when we talk about that. They've undergone roster changes. It is a best of one format, but at the end of the day, all of these teams are playing in the same format, so you can't really go too deep towards that. Other teams that are more highly skilled seem to be more consistent, and yes, Order at their very best can sweep teams like they did in that last round, but you need to be able to do that more than once. So we'll have to see whether or not they can bring their best for the rest of this map, but with a strong start like that, I hope that it does instill them with some confidence.
Well, so far for APAC South for Order, 7-3 loss to 7th Heaven and a 7-3 loss to Wildcard. In both of those games, only one attacking round each. So if we're sort of looking at those metrics, kind of have to hope for Order's sake that they're going to be able to do well here on the defense, on Consulate, because their attacks have been a little bit wayward so far here for APAC South, but things can change, and Order's a team that is good at changing, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse, but
sometimes maybe good.
Yeah, exactly right. But a good start though for Order, and for Elevate, I mean, this is where it can get a little scary, because if good Order show up tonight and Elevate somehow lose this game, suddenly you're behind the pack. You're no longer like just tailing. You are actually behind what is the pack of, you know, Q Confirm, Wildcard, Knights, even to a degree Invictus, who have got a game to play after this as well. That's not ideal for the State of Champions.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Elevate as they stand now, heading into this matchup, they're 5th. They're just on the edge of the playoffs. Now, that is, of course, with Wildcard have already played, but nonetheless, it has been a little bit of a concerning start in Stage 2 for Elevate. Now, not devastating by any stretch, but also far from ideal. And this round also not off to a fantastic start either. DCH taken off the board by Jackdad. It's another big opening pick for Order.
And that's going to be something to look at in this matchup, right? On Consulate especially, usually you're going to see the defenders getting a lot of these opening picks as they're looking out through the windows. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be spawn peaks, but nonetheless, they're the ones that are going to be aggressive and look to make it difficult for the attackers to push into the building and therefore find these picks, get this man advantage, and then play off of that. With a minute 20 left, Order have got one. Sapper, though, does catch Nate going for the run out, and that makes it a 4 versus 4. At least, you know, make things a bit better for Elevate.
Again, the drone economy for Elevate not looking overly healthy. With a minute to go, they only have 4 drones left, and Jack Daddy is popping off. Specker, though, retakes the stairs, finds a pick on the way through, and that's big for Order. They now find themselves at the 3-2-man advantage. Napier at long desk on Agiri, though, disconnected from this push. No trade ability as Napier falls on Agiri, will now be left in the 1v3 as he repels down towards the main stairs. He'll look to enter the building. but he doesn't really have a whole lot to work with.
No, it just goes over towards Visa now. 40 seconds left, and yeah, obviously Napier on the floor. And Order have got the numbers here. Not a lot to do here for Onigiri, and not the best start for Elevate, because Order are the ones that are making things happen. This is not like a close affair where it's back and forth. Or this is basically Order, and they're dictating this game so far. Elevate in the first 2 rounds, it's been a little bit slow to get themselves into it. Onigiri has played this actually pretty well, and has utilized all of the time that he had to his advantage. Unfortunately, though, Order will finally shut down this failed save attempt, and it is going to be Order up 2-0 to start here on Consulate.
I guess the important thing is that we measure our expectations is not the word I'm looking for, but it's important that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. Consulate,
Don't get too excited.
Yeah, that's the simplest. I was trying to think of a more convoluted way to say that, but yeah, don't get too far ahead of ourselves. Consulate is Defend decided not to discount anything that Order has achieved so far, right? The first 2 rounds have honestly been really solid from them. Don't get me wrong, but it is important that we taper our expectations, don't get too far ahead of ourselves, and hope that Order can carry this into the second half, because it's a long way to go, and Elevate could find themselves back in this pretty quickly.
I don't know if I can agree with you, Gus.
Oh,
and
you love disagreeing with you.
I'm not the qualified one here, you are. But I mean, Consulate, Defend decided. I understand the meta and the way things have sort of shaped a little bit, but while we don't actually have the stats in front of us for APAC South, I can look at OCN where we've seen Consulate played actually the most. It's been played 3 times.
75% defense in APAC South Stage 2, but it was only played once.
Well, that's one game though. So if we look at a bigger picture in the Oceanic region, which kind of to a degree plays closely. I mean, there's half of the teams here. You're looking at 51 attacker sided, 48 defender. That's 18 attacking rounds and 17 defensive rounds. So that's pretty close. Now, of course, the numbers themselves don't tell the full story, but I don't think you can sit back here and say that, you know, this is like, as you said, 75% defensive win rate. It's nothing like that. For Order, though, you know, a 4-2 defensive half on Consulate, you might sit back and say, guys, oh, that's expected. I would actually say that's really good, especially against their opponent. And sometimes you've got to look at it from the opponent perspective and also the team that is playing, more so than just what is, say, the map in general, because it depends on what teams are playing.
Yeah, 100%. Again, 30 seconds into this round, and Elevate have dropped 6 drones. Elevate's drone economy so far has been really questionable, and I don't know how much of that is playing into the hands of Order and has contributed to them losing the first 2 rounds, but I can't help but feel that having such a lack of drones is proving to be costly. It's not ideal. I don't know how they're losing this many drones early, but nonetheless, that's the situation that they find themselves in. It's important that they now adapt and make good use of their remaining drones. And Elevate have been quite disciplined, particularly in this phase of the round. They are using the drones available to discover as much as they possibly can, but there's plenty of counter information still available for Order, right? They have a bulletproof camera. Nico as well on the pulse can use his heartbeat scanner, and I would say that on the balance of everything, Order probably have the advantage when it comes to information.
And as always as well, Order with that information can deny that sort of lobby rush that we tend to see every now and then on lobby press, and I think that's something that Elevate maybe going to want to be setting up for. Napu getting that early pick onto Nate, though, kind of gives Onigiri the green light, but he's going to be stopped immediately by Bailey. There's a good angle looking over towards the main entrance there, and wow, there's another one. Jack Dad gets taken out by Sapper. This is a crazy round. We kind of expected this from Consulate.
Okay, this angle from Bailey is pretty nutty. I don't think I've ever seen this played in competitive, and wow, it has full vision of the front door. Now, yes, you are exposed to an upstairs take or behind on the spiral rappel, but if you have those positions covered, it could be quite strong. Sapper, though, he's inside of Piano getting a plant down. Yeah,
that's a little bit new. Well, not new, but it's a bit different, right? Usually you're kind of expecting that lobby plant, but because they feel as if it has been covered, they move over towards Piano, and it's worked out really well. That shows the strength of Elevate and their ability to sort of adjust on the fly here. It's paying dividends. And Order are now the ones that need to retake. They're catching up. Specker, check your left. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Napier gets the kill. Sapper then finds another one onto Nico. That's the Elevate that we know and love.
And this round really encapsulates Southeast Asia as a whole. Not just Elevate, but all the Southeast Asian teams in APAC South. They have a really good ability to adapt on the fly and exploit their opponent's weaknesses. Now, I know that Elevate only had a couple of drones left, so I don't know if it was intuition or actual hard information that led them to making that shot call, but going into Piano and getting the plant down uncontested was a perfect read. They completely caught Order off guard, who didn't know that that plant was going down, or if they did, weren't in a good position to deny it. And from there, most sites on Consulate are really difficult to retake. They hold on in the post plan, and Elevate do get their first round on the board.
And getting that round win, obviously not nice to get the round on the board, but also I think the way that they played that round, just that little bit of form, a little bit of momentum, slows things down a little bit, comes back over to your side. Order got out to a fast start, quick 2-0. That looks great, but then suddenly you get one back, you shut them down, you adjust on the fly really, really well. Order couldn't quite match it, and it just shows, again, where Elevate's at as a team, as the stage champions. And Order now, it's almost like, okay, can they now adjust back? That Elevate have thrown a punch back suddenly, they've got to respond now. If they don't respond, Elevate can go on a run. And that's usually APAC South in a nutshell, where it's just a game of runs, really. Who goes on a bit of a momentum run of rounds in a row?
Well, I did just praise Elevate's ability to adapt on the fly, but now we get to see whether or not that actually does reign true. Order again going down below, but it's a heavy extension above and a pretty similar setup in terms of the mirror up above, the castle barricades to reinforce those positions, and the ability to create lines of sight down below in towards the OBJ. So very similar here from the defense. Now, last time when Order attempted this, it was a flawless round for the defense. Elevate really struggling to gain the intel required to go for a confident play up above or even in towards the site. So now we get to see if Elevate can read into that play a little bit better and hope that their execute is cleaner.
Of course, Order defended this pretty well. Last time out, little basement. Zappa should be able to get off that exothermic charge, and does, is successful. In fact, we'll open up the garage wall entirely at the 2-minute mark. Elevate can set up from here and clear out a lot of the utility. Bailey, though, has got other ideas, jumps out and then back in, takes a kill with him. And that just changes things a little bit. That's going to be Twitch off the board.
Yeah, not only did he throw out the Nitro Cell and damage DCH, but then he decided to back himself, jump out, and find the kill. So it's a really solid start for Order. Once again, they get the opening pick, which has proved to be pivotal in these round wins for Order. Again, no trade from Elevators. No one else was out towards the front of the building, and that does compromise their ability to convert this round. No control above from the attack means that the defense can look straight down below towards that breach, and it makes it very difficult for Elevate to get in towards the site, but Sapper runs in uncontested. Jack Daddy could be under the pump real soon behind the box. Who wins this fight? It could be an awkward one, but Jack Daddy cooks the Nitro Cell, elects not to throw it. Sapper can capitalize, finds the kill, but it is 2v4, 2v3 as they slowly bring this back. Elevate collect the diffuser, or at least attempt to collect the diffuser. Instead, they send it deep. Onigiri as well finds one elsewhere. It's been a messy round, but that mirror window proves ever powerful for Order, who can claim the round.
Yeah, and the mirror window in the end is the biggest difference maker there. So much pressure from Elevate going onto the side of White Van, trying to avoid that, trying to push up, trying to go deep, all the way into Cafeteria. And yeah, I mean, I don't mind it too much because Order started to swing and Order started to get involved, and we saw those trades going back and forth. At one point, it was like a 2 versus 3, and I'm actually sitting there thinking, oh boy, this is actually going all right for Elevate. But in the end, to their credit of Order, played off the mirror window, then started to bring it back into their favor, closed out the round. And so far, they've got now 3 rounds in the half on the defense here for Consulate. They should be pretty happy with this. This is now what I like to consider free money for the next 2 rounds. If they can get anything beyond this, they should be very happy with this defense. Maybe they do need to be getting a little bit more, because I go back to what I mentioned earlier, where their attacks have been quite uneventful so far for APAC South. Just 2 attacking round wins in their first 2 games played, guys. Not ideal. So they need to bank as many defensive rounds as they can get.
Interesting deployable shield there on the front desk from Order, who have been bringing out some pretty spicy strats in this one so far. But the other thing that also caught my eye is DCH. He's 6-picked onto the Flores this round, which is a little bit peculiar to me. On Consulate, Flores and his Rotero drones, not the most effective. And of all the sites where he is probably most potent, where you can actually get the drone down and get it in towards the OBJ to clear utility, would be basement. Now, obviously, Order can't go back down below. They can't go down below again for the rest of the half. So the 6-pick onto the Flores for this round in particular, very risky. And because of this site's propensity to fall into the hands of a lot of repel play unless DCH can get a foothold towards bottom yellow stairs or inside of Visa. Actually sending those drones in towards the site and clearing a lot of this utility will probably be quite difficult.
Do you have to wonder if they were maybe expecting lobby press?
Yeah, maybe.
That could have been in the thought process there. But then you think, well, Order lost that. Why would they want to go lobby press again? So, yeah, it's an intriguing one. We'll keep an eye on it and see whether or not DCH can make something of it. Because it does get spoken about a lot, the Flores and its usefulness on Consulate outside of basement and whether it is going to be impactful. And I mean, so far in the times that we've seen it, I don't think it's really offered too much. But I guess teams obviously still need a bit more time to really see what it can bring. 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. Spectre making a run of things over towards Visa. And for Elevate, it's almost quite getting to that must-win territory in terms of a few more rounds. Definitely do not want to go down 4-1 with one more to go in the half. So need to get a wriggle on here.
Yep. Pretty cool couple of rounds here for Elevate. Both teams trading out a little bit of damage.
Oh, Spectre.
DCH taken down, so those Roteros definitely won't have an impact in this round, and that does reinforce a lot of that utility placed by Order and could make things quite tricky in the late round for Elevate. The great first pick as DCH tried to get a foothold in Visa to use his utility, read into perfectly by Order. Now down below, Spectre could find himself in another engagement, Napier close by.
And Napier doesn't have this information on Spectre. That was a... Well, now he does, definitely. Of course, back. Oh, that's an iffy one. Napier wins it out. Spectre could have easily won that and really given a massive advantage for Order. Now suddenly things are even. It's a 4 versus 4. 1 minute on the clock. Onigiri now going to make their way into the site, or into the building. Close enough.
Could be another awkward engagement off site here. Angry X catches Jack Daddy off guard. This has been a strange round. Elevate, quite unpredictable on their approach towards the site, catching Order off guard on a couple of occasions, but they can try and hunker down now. The defense, with 30 seconds left to hold out, are still in a decent position as Nate finds one from down below. He doesn't get traded. Where is the call from Elevate? Nate is still alive. Oh my word. Napier eventually finishes him. That was an awkward engagement though. Order in the 2v3.
I'm lost for words.
Seconds left.
Crazy round. Does it maybe have a crazy finish with 10 seconds left? Bailey can still make a big play. Obviously not much time, so for Elevate, it's all about making the right play. Yoko drone doesn't find what it's looking for. Zappa will be able to get this diffuser planted. Unfortunately for Bailey, now he's got a very big task, but he immediately gets the kill onto Napier. Makes it a 1 versus 2, and he does have at least a little bit of information here off the back of that diffuser, only just going down. Doesn't matter though. Angry from the bathroom gets the kill, and Elevate win a wacky round.
Default camera still up. I thought that might have been what Jack Daddy was watching in the post-plant, but yeah. Look, Consulate is known to be a little bit peculiar in its play style, especially matched up against some of the more conventional and structured maps, but that was taking it to another level. Awkward engagements throughout. Elevate basically filing one by one over towards certain parts of the map, trying to gain some map control, some intel, find a couple of picks, and definitely threw up a mixed bag of results. In the end, though, they did manage to win out the round. They tightened up that margin a little bit, and now Elevate find themselves in a position to even out the half, and given that it's a Consulate attack, that would be a big win.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Yeah, I think a 3-3 half definitely favors Elevate. I agree with you on that one, Gus, that's for sure. I think still a 2-4 for Order. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be happy with that. So for Elevate to get 3-3, well, they're laughing. Oh, that's an easy drone kill for Nico. Maybe binds into what you were speaking about before, and Elevate losing some of their drone economy too early on in these rounds. Be a bit of an example there. They've just lost another one, actually. Not ideal, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, DCH again electing to bring the Flores in this round, so hopefully for Elevate he can have more of an impact as he was immediately shut down with the C4 early in round 5. Over towards Visa. He doesn't get taken down early here.
Well, I will actually say though, this is the thing about the Flores. He has to get in to admin to then start using those Rotero drones. He can't just sit on the building repelling forever.
Yeah, 100%. And Order could potentially read into that. Now, last round, the Flores was 6-picked. I wasn't watching this round, so I'm unsure if it was 6-picked or revealed. Either way, though, if Order know that the Flores is on the board, they could probably expect a very similar route. So yeah, that could be read into. Now, it does look like DCH is actually going to the roof, so maybe he could actually send the drones down the yellow hatch. That would be pretty creative. And yeah, that might well be the play. He does scout ahead with a regular drone, but this is potentially really smart because there is, again, a lot of utility established by the defense over towards the top of yellow stairs.
The biggest thing here is the trickiness in being able to get this to activate without it getting shot, and that's a perfect play there from DCH. There's no one actually playing the top of yellow stairs though, guys. Usually we'll see a player hanging around the top of yellow stairs and playing with this utility, and that's where the Rotero drones can get shot before they actually get to explode, but in this case, no one actually playing that position. And this is where the Flores can actually have some influence, especially on Consulate.
Yeah, Order electing to play a little bit more aggressive over towards Bathroom. In fact, they fully reinforced off top yellow, and that's probably to be expected a little bit more in the current meta where it is trickier to deny enough projectiles. Either way, though, we find ourselves in a little bit of a break mid-round here with 1:30 to go. Angry X has good control of top yellow, but needs to be mindful of Nico down below in piano. Specker as well alongside. Order could elect to get aggressive here, try and trade out this pick in an attempt to unravel this attack.
So they've what? They got like 3 players on the first floor, 2 players above holding on. It seems like Order are really just going to catch Elevator Guard here if they push in too early. Like this. Yep. Exactly like this. Nice early pick from Nico. Should be able to get a second one. If not, at least they have the information as to Onigiri's whereabouts now, pushing forward here onto the second floor. Maybe actually getting a knife kill onto Nico. Not ideal. Clash now just being a nuisance to Onigiri.
Oh, no, that Clash is taken down, though, quite swiftly. Dealt with well there by Elevator, who have the man advantage. Onigiri now unleashed. Onigiri unleashed, but Specker has top control. How many can he find here over towards long desk? It needs to be 3 if he wants to win out the round. He does find one, drops another. That diffuser is on the ground. DCH and Napier to try and collect the scraps.
Half health for Specker, but he's playing this long desk position perfectly and he's still got a bit of time. Not too much though, only 20 seconds, so if he can hold on a little bit longer, he could just clutch out a very impactful round for Order to send them 4-2 up in the half. Zappo is back up though. And there's only 10 seconds. They know exactly where Specker is holding here. That diffuser's dead. He's going to get aggressed upon, though. The 2 versus 1. Too good, too strong in the end. Specker losing that one. And it's a 3-3 half between Elevate and Order.
Well, that spices things up quite a bit. Difficult to separate these two teams. It was a strong start in the half for Order, but Elevate, particularly in rounds 5 and 6, fight back really, really hard, despite how scrappy some of these rounds have been. They have fought to the death. Bring it back 3 apiece, and I guess now we get to see if Elevate have the goods on the defense. Now, casting our minds back to earlier in this stage. Now, I don't know if I'm dreaming this up. I'm 99% sure I'm not, but they have played this earlier in the stage. If I can find the result, that would be great. Yeah, it was against the Knights. Play day 1, and they were playing ultra aggressive. Now, again, ultimately, they didn't win the map, but on their defense, my word, they were jumping out left, right, and center and making life really difficult for the Knights. So expect them to do something similar here against Order.
That was the only Consulate we've actually had on for APAC South. So that's where a lot of those statistics have sort of come from, at least for APAC South, where 9 defensive rounds to 3 attacking rounds. We've already got 3 attacking rounds, though, for Elevate, right? So they've already been able to better their performance last time against Knights, where they only had the 1 attacking round. This time they've gotten 3, and as it's already been touched upon by not only yourself, guys, but you know, Dev touched on it earlier on at the desk break. I mean, Elevate's defense here on Consulate should be the undoing of Order, especially when you then add into Order's attacking woes. It's almost like a double-edged sword here, and it's not ideal for Order. So very fascinating to see how this plays out in the second half.
Onigiri could definitely be one to watch, one of the top fraggers for Elevate. But the rest of the team can definitely step up when required. Nothing too aggressive here at the start of this defense from Elevate, as Order are given pretty free control outside of Garage. Now, I would expect Order to open up the breach. In fact, they already have got Garage open. Jack Daddy droning ahead quite swiftly to see how many players from Elevate are actually on the objective. Now, at the moment, it's only DCH and Napu. Sapper maybe over towards Pipes, a little bit tricky to tell. But nonetheless, Order shaping up for a pretty default garage take at the moment.
Yeah, and the drone's also finding a lot of that utility, which will aid Nate when he goes in and he can just send the Rotary drone straight in, clear out that utility. And this is just pretty practical right now from Order, not necessarily doing anything too crazy. This is standard approach. It feels like it's almost up to Elevate at some point to make something happen. If we think back to the first half, it was Order that was making a few picks and getting a few early kills onto Elevate when they were trying to attack basement, and it was successful for Order on their defense. But if Elevate just allow Order to continue to just clear out all this utility, eventually, you know, smoke up, plant White Van, and call it a day, well, Order will take the round. So Elevate, timing here is everything. It is everything and more. Unfortunately for Bailey, did a quick little 180 and then he gets eliminated. Nate now the go button. It is time to push in, but unfortunately just losing players left, right, and center here, Order, and this attack has faltered pretty quickly as well.
Nico up above. There is a player to his left in Piano. Does find that pick. Running the suppressor, of course. Nico being a little bit cheeky. Can hide those bullet trails and try to catch his enemies off guard. Does pop the hatch. That would have been heard by the defense. Elevate looking to hold on. Now, all three members of the defense quite low, but Nico as well on 50 HP. No doubt Elevate have the advantage, but they need to be careful and just look to close this round out.
Yeah, play off each other. Not too close where he can sort of get like a bit of a decent spray and get 2 for 1, but close enough that you can get the retrade like in that situation, and that's what Onigiri does. Nice defense though from Elevate in the end, and they start off the second half looking very good.
Yeah, can't really fault to Elevate too much there on their defense. It was pretty straightforward from both teams. The garage breach was open quite early into that round, but then Elevate were able to find a few picks to completely dislodge that attack, and unfortunately for Order, they couldn't really find their way back into it. And when your advantage, or I guess, when your advantage, it tends to slide away on Consulate, it very much has a snowball effect, and that probably does reign true for a lot of maps and a lot of situations, but Consulate in particular, where at the moment it can be quite tricky to find your in on these rounds, and it's very reliant on quite a chaotic trade playstyle late round. So if you do have that man disadvantage, be it 1 or maybe even 2 players, getting back into the round statistically is incredibly tough.
And this is where now we start to get into the territory of, does this end up being another honorable game from Order, or you know, are they going to be able to really push Elevate here, or is this just going to be where they fall over, like they've kind of done so far in APAC South? Referenced some of the results from Playday 1 and Playday 2, but 7-3, 7-3. Suddenly, it's now 4-3 after what was a pretty decent start. Things can slip away quickly. You mentioned it, you know, the snowballing effect. It can happen as well, not just in the rounds, but the match itself can very much snowball away, especially now with Elevate on the defense. We know what they're capable of here on Consulate. So it's very much the ball is in Order's court to make something happen here. And have they got the tools to do that? We're about to find out.
An Eastern spawn here for Order, indicating that they'll look to obtain control of Visa, and that will be their foothold for this attack. Now, luckily for Order, there's not really anyone from Elevate contesting this too hard, but they do need to be mindful of Onigiri, who is probing a little bit, and also Napu down below, who has a Nitro cell available. So this isn't going to be easy for Order, and again, that range 2 on Consulate, getting into the map sometimes can be the most tricky task. You can see just how aggressive Elevate are playing this, but Order not backing down without a fight.
I suspect that Napu almost for a second there wanted to go for the jump out, but yeah, this is the pressure you've now come to expect from pretty much every team defending on Consulate. I thought Order were at times maybe a little bit too easy with their defense, but still, even they employed this sort of tactic, because Nico, Jack that all push in now, finding these picks. And it just gives Order that momentary advantage. Can they capitalize though? Elevate's known for being able to, you know, clutch up and being able to weather the storm and get back into these rounds. There's a lot of time remaining as well. But Order are in. They've got a man advantage, and this is looking good for their attack.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Plenty of time, 3 drones in hand, and Order do have the ability to locate where these remaining defenders are situated and then enact a plan in able to isolate each of these players one by one and eventually convert the round. It's important that they just maintain their confidence and look to close it out. Now, keep in mind, it is not an above defense, it is down in towards lobby, and Jack Dad is looking to try and get this plane down. Good coverage from Nico. It's a 1v3 post plane. In fact, it's not a post plane as the kit was dropped, but a tough task for Angry X nonetheless.
Well, they've forced the trade at hand here. They know they've got the advantage against Elevate. They've got the man advantage perfectly played from Order. Go for that plant. Know that if someone peeks out, yeah, they might get the kill, but we've got a man watching. He'll get the kill back, and we will continue to hold that man advantage. So that's just well played from Order. And they get an attacking round on the board. 4-4 is the scoreboard so far in this matchup. And I think the biggest takeaway for me here is the fact that Order are going toe-to-toe with Elevate. And it does show, and it continues to show that when Order are up and about, they are a team that is capable of really, really solid results.
100%. And a lot of these rounds are coming down to which team is more proficient in the first minute. And on that occasion, in that previous round, Order were able to trade out with the advantage, that top floor position. And from there, they had the confidence, they had the intel to go for that front door plant. The coverage was also there, and they played into their advantage. And that has been a common theme for both of these squads, and that's a trend that I expect will continue. Still potentially a long way to go in this matchup. We are, of course, 9 rounds in, but you just never know. In APAC South, we often have a lot of games go right down to the wire, and that does mean it's a bit of a test of endurance for both of these teams.
And mental as well, without getting into the 95% mental mean from Specker. It is true, more than anything, right, where Order have got to be able to have that mental fortitude when things start to get a little bit tough and we get down to, say, maybe 5-5, and you get to that break point where it's like, okay, next round you get a point at minimum at 6-5, match point, all of these things that start to weigh on the mind, especially when you're playing against a really top team like Elevate, who are on the defense, on Consulate, and you know they're going to be aggressive. You know they're going to be in your face. They're going to be peeking these windows. They're going to be doing jump outs, all of these things running through the minds of Order, on top of the fact that they still need to shoot well. So it really does highlight why these players are some of the best players in the world. Just their ability to adapt on the fly and deal with so many different scenarios. It's really nice to watch.
Order again setting up for an admin take on the eastern side of the map. Now, last time Elevate contested this quite aggressively, and rightly so, trying to prevent their opponents from entering in towards the map and begin their march towards the vertical above the objective. On this occasion, though, they allow Order to swing in pretty freely. They'll fall back over towards long desk, meeting, con, etc., and try and force the choke down some of these long angles and try and force Order to have the initiative and go for some slightly more risky gunfights.
Napier's got himself a drone there. He was even driving side by side with one of the Order drones for a split second. So at least some decent information there through the Mozzie for Elevate. They can sort of suss out this attacking move from Order. Becker has now found himself inside of Visa. Minute and a half on the clock. What kind of feels like, you said who's going to be able to perform better inside of the first minute. Well, this has been a bit of a slower round, or as I say that, though, right on cue. Nate with the opening pick onto Napier. That's the Mozzie off the board. And again, advantage Order. They were able to capitalize in the prior round. Can they do so again 2 rounds in a row?
Probably a little bit early for Order to consider a plant at the moment. Probably need to find one more, and right on cue, Nico drops Sapper, and now this is when Order can hit the go button. Oh. Nico is traded back, but Specker can find the head of Onigiri, Angry X, and DCH to try and hold on here, but it's a tall task.
And Specker having a really good game so far, and has been a standout. So is Order as a team. Flawless round in the end. 2 rounds in a row on the attack for Order. They regain the lead. They are up 5-4 versus the Stage 1 champions here on Consulate. And suddenly things are just now maybe getting out of hand for Elevate. It looked like they went up 4-3. They were taking care of business. They were going to sweep Order aside. But Order fight back. And they show that they're here for the fight. And that, honestly, Specker's performance so far in this game, at times he has had some rough performances in the past, guys. But when he's playing well, Order as a team play well.
Yeah, we might see our first Specker interview of the stage if Order manage to get up. And in fact, if Order win the next round, they'll also earn their first point of Stage 2, regardless of whether they win or not. If they get 6 rounds, it's guaranteed at least to go to overtime. So that's a quick little fun fact and a motivating force behind Order really trying to bounce back off what has been a tricky start to their second stage. As we always say, Order have the players, they have the experience, but they need to be able to connect those dots. And for the first time in a while, it feels like we are teetering on the edge of that happening. And maybe that's because Raven predicted Elevate. We will never know, but Order are genuinely putting in a good performance.
I mean, as we go into round 10, Order with the lead. Raven currently at 1-10 for the predictions. Not ideal, but plenty of time and plenty of rounds for Elevate to bring things back. Order 1 round away from securing at least 1 point at minimum. Doesn't seem like much, guys, but hey, when you're sitting on 0 points on a -8 round differential, you'll take anything you can get, especially against a team like Elevate. And this could be the thing that kickstarts their season. They can pick up a win here against Elevate. That's 3 very vital points. For Elevate, it would, wow, put a big dampener on their season 3 rounds in, 3 playdays in.
Yeah, if Order take this game, this map in regulation, they'll actually bump Elevate out of 5th spot, send them down to 6th. So that is such a devastating start for the reigning champs, and Elevate, such a strong team. It's just, for whatever reason, Stage 2 just not quite starting out how they would have liked. Again, this is
I think they would go, they could actually, or I was going to say they could go lower on round differential, but I don't think that'll happen now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it is early days. I know that, you know, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but trends are starting to be established in this league, and if they reign true, Elevate not in the most comfortable of positions, but as I say, that DCH gets the opener, and that is something Elevate have been struggling with a little bit, getting that opening pick and establishing dominance early round, but finally, they have found something.
Yeah, and you're right, bring that up. The last couple of rounds, Order have been the ones who have been able to find these picks, which is a little strange because typically the defense, you know, the ones who are peaking, the ones who are being aggressive, looking to find those opening picks, making it difficult for the attackers, tends to find those picks, like in this case here with DCH picking up that Nitrocell kill onto Nico. Minute 15. Things just slow down momentarily.
DCH is hiding in the closet. This is interesting. And I believe there's a player in piano, but...
two! Oh, somehow only gets away with the 1. He could have easily had to, and may still find 2 eventually when it's all said and done. Elevate with a 2-man advantage, and they've got to deal with DCH roaming around. There's a trade, which at this point, Order do not want to be really trading too much. Napew finds 2 down below. Specker, the solo, have been singing his praises, but despite this ping and despite this potential kill, this round is going to go the way of Elevate in what continues to be a match between 2 teams that just keep going in swings and roundabouts, guys, where little runs here and there.
Specker trying to pop the hatch to escape this death box, but it's all too little too late. The diffuser's outside, 20 seconds left on the board, and it's a good response from Elevate. They play off that opening pick, and in doing so, the scoreline will be 5 apiece.
10 seconds remaining.
It just stops that little Order run of 2 rounds in a row. Elevate needed that one. Just for the sake of not allowing Order to get 3 rounds in a row, plus match point, which would have secured them at least 1, which would have meant Elevate couldn't get 3. That is now still a possibility for Elevate. They can now go and still get all 3 points if they can win the next 2 rounds in a row and close this out 7-5. That's the task ahead of them on the defense here for Consulate. And if that were to happen, boy, that would be heartbreak for Order, guys, because they have been standing right up to Elevate in this match, both on the defense and on the offense.
Yep, it would be heartbreaking. And round 11, 5-5. I love this with the new match format. It's almost like that mini match point where both teams are desperately crawling to try and attain match point first. Again, the stakes are really quite large. Elevate looking to get full points here to try and get themselves out of 5th position. They want to be breaking back in towards that top 4. Order, on the other hand, if they win this round, will get their very first point they're guaranteed to get their very first point of stage 2. That's how difficult this stage has been for them and how competitive APAC South has been. Now, there's no denying, and we've seen it here, Order are playing some really good Siege. So again, APAC South as a whole, just so incredibly competitive.
Yeah, very close between all of the teams, and that's what makes it fascinating and fun to watch and kind of hard to predict as well. I'll give Raven a reprieve here. Slightly.
Ah, that's too nice.
Too nice? Okay, 1 in 10. Could still be a possibility if Order can win. Although, I'm not going to lie, at this point, me and Raven actually tipped all the same today, and which has just turned into a disaster for me. Started off great, 6 and 2, and suddenly could be 6 and 6 by the end of the night. Things continue this way, but look, it's been a really fun one to watch here on Consulate. Map that I enjoy to watch, and we're just going to be holding that top yellow stairs position, which is something that Order vacated when they were on the defense. And we'll see again, this Flores, I mean, we've touched on it a few times. I honestly would say that from both teams, Elevate and Order, the Flores use has been better than what I've seen in OCN.
Yeah, we've seen it have a little bit of a limited impact. Now, of course, we're not going to catch every single play that the Rotero drones have. That is simply just not feasible, but we have seen some utility being cleared, and I've really liked this adaptation to actually send drones to the yellow skylight. Now, again, if you have a defender situated on the yellow stairs, as you do in this case with Angry X, getting the drones all the way up the stairs is going to be tough. Angry should be able to shoot them out, or at least just weather the storm. Nonetheless, though, it is being really creative here from the attackers, and Nate using all of those drones to try and clear as much as possible and create as much devastation as possible. Now, outside of that, another interesting pick is Onigiri gets the first. Was Sapper. Now he's running Ala with the shotgun, so that could be something to keep our eye on as well.
Elevate with another opening pick. Seems like both teams have been able to capitalize on their opening picks as well in the last couple of rounds as things really get tight and tense and close. 5-5, and it's a 5v4 advantage for Elevate. Nate, beautiful run out, easy kill to Specker. He gets shut down. Suddenly the advantage continues to climb for Elevate, but Jack Dad brings at least one back. 4 versus 3, minute 15. It's close in the round and as in the match as a whole.
Concerning thing for Order is they don't really have great control of anything at the moment. Sure, they've got the repels covered and Jack Daddy's encircled desk, but one of these players really needs to step up. There's still good utility established here for the defense, making it really, really tricky. Now, Order do have 4 drones left. That does allow them to try and locate where these players are. But again, with a man disadvantage on Consulate, trying to get this execute off will be really, really tough. So, look, Elevate favored in this occasion, but you just never know. Maybe Order can pull something off.
DCH still with a Nitro Cell as well, if needed, if required.
Oh, that
I
shield.
think Nate just looking to try and find an opening pick before they venture in, but he falls short of that one. But Jack Dad, Bailey, they come up big. Both Angry X and Sapper have been eliminated. Jack Dad can get the point. Oh, Bailey, the timing. He could have almost got one. He's still got the knockdown anyway. DCH with the Nitro Cell. Now 1 versus 2. Bailey, Jack Dad, both combined in the end. Big round win for Order, and their first point of APAC South has been secured. They have match point.
That was so close for Order. Trusting Bailey on the con repel there to cover both players was incredibly brave. And honestly, Order would have looked pretty silly if that had have backfired. But nonetheless, they pulled it off. It was a good attempt there from Elevate, but unfortunately, they just fall short in the dying seconds of that round. Well played from Order. As you mentioned, they finally get some points in APAC South. That's absolutely huge. But even more importantly, they have an opportunity to get the full 3.
Yeah, and glad you brought that up because you mentioned it before, but if they can walk away with all 3 points, that would put them above Elevate. Elevate would drop down to the bottom 3, technically tied second last, and Chiefs to play after this. I mean, this is really, really bad news right now for Elevate. If they can salvage this though, guys, if they can walk away with 2 points, suddenly it's not all doom and gloom. They would have the exact same record as the Knights. They would be 1-1-0-1, right? Which is 1 regulation win, 1 overtime win, and 1 regular loss to specify those ones. But it means that they can still turn it around, but they're going to have to win this one. Otherwise, Order will take a 7-5 victory, and I'll be 0-3 on the night.
Attackers are moving out
Ooh.
to locate a bomb and defuse it.
This is probably one of the more pressure-inducing scenarios that Elevate have found themselves in 2021. For the most part, it's been, you know, not easy, but it's been, you know, relatively cruisy. Elevate have been quite dominant. They were the stage champions only a couple of months ago, but stage 2 has been really, really tricky, and this map has been a tough task as well. Order, again, playing some absolutely marvelous Siege, and I would say probably the best we've seen this roster in particular, but Elevate just not looking great either. It's been a tough one between these two, but look, Order still need to finish the job.
Yeah, unfortunately, the mute jammer there just not only catching the Roterodrome, but us as well. So that's a little unfortunate.
I'll do the gun sounds.
Order's got the opening pick, though. Angry X is going to be eliminated. Jeez, please don't. 2 minutes on the clock. Order with an advantage, not only in the game, but on the match as a whole with match point. And Nate will continue to try and clear out whatever utility he can find, whether it be the top of yellow stairs, ideally, or at least even just flush out that clash for a second. Oh, Nico finding a pick there. I didn't even realize because I don't have the sound, but it's a 2-kill advantage now for Order. 5 versus 3. Onigiri finds one back. Elsewhere, over towards CO, minute and a half on the clock.
Onigiri looking to try and hold in towards CEO. Sapa on the clash needs to have an impact and needs to apply pressure, particularly on these repulse from Order, and not allow them to really gain a foothold in towards the objective. A great Rotero drone there will flush out on Onigiri. No one really there to capitalize just yet, but eventually Jack Daddy does find that kill on the repel. That's a great play from Order, and Elevate are left in the 2v4.
What a play from Nate on that Rotero drone. That was his final one. He felt like enough utility was cleared. Now we're going to just push Onigiri out of that position and then follow it up with a nice kill. And they did that. Oh, DCH, though, with a dirty little angle onto Bailey. Elevate fighting tooth and nail to get back into this one. This time, Sapper, that run out's not going to work. 45 seconds on the clock. There's still time for Elevate to maybe slow things down, make it difficult for Order to get the plant. Nitrocell out from TCH, but it's short of the mark at the top of Spiral. Jackdad now utilizing that balcony position. TCH has got to be very careful. He might find another one, and he does! Diffuses down! Sapper elsewhere. Kill onto Specker. Nate is the solo left, and Order are maybe just watching all 3 points dissipate in front of their eyes.
Nate,
what a calamity.
He's going to go for the repel in towards Con. DCH gets the call from Sapper as he has him in his grasp. Both players are going to play this passive. That makes sense. Nate forced to send it in deep. DCH shuts him down. Elevate bring that round back, and they bring the map back as well.
And they bring the sound back as well, guys. Woo! Everyone's winning right now except Order. Oh boy, if they let that one fall. All 3 points, unfortunately, no longer available. But Elevate's a massive round win, though, guys, because it just keeps things ticking over. They get at least 1 point. That's ideal. And now they can go for 2. And as I said before, that would put them at the exact same record as the Knights. And suddenly things are looking a little bit better from what could have been a nightmare start to stage 2. But for Order, it just feels like deja vu. This is the Order we see too often, where they're in these moments, they're in these chances, guys, and it's just, can they get over that final hurdle? No, they can't. Unfortunately, it's OT.
Yeah, really disappointing there for Order. But on the other side of the coin, it's really good for Elevate to be able to bring that back. There's no doubt this has been a challenging map for themselves, and I'm got no doubt that their mental has been challenged as well. So props to them to bring that round back from the brink. As I mentioned, they've brought the map back as well. Now, of course, neither of these teams now can gain full points, and particularly for Elevate, that's important because it makes their run.
And it almost seems like we expect it, which I don't know if that's disrespectful to Order or if that's just us having really good observation as to how Order typically operate. Maybe it's a bit of both, but I do think that if Order can win this attacking round, then yeah, I would back them heavily to then make it an 8-6 win. But otherwise, Elevate favored for sure.
Attackers need to locate.
Well, we do find ourselves back in towards the map. 6-6 the scoreline if you are just joining us. We had a quick re-host after that last round of regulation where Elevate were able to secure overtime after what has been a hard-fought 12 rounds. We do start off down below. Elevate on the defense. The basement objective for Elevate wasn't too fruitful for their attacks, but defense, of course, a whole other ball game. We'll have to see just how aggressive they decide to play it. We saw Order extending above quite aggressively on their defenses, whereas Elevate were a bit more restrained and a bit more, I guess, structured down below. That said, Napier is playing the Rook, so with that 2x in hand, anything is possible.
Yeah, and Order, when they were playing above site, were the ones being quite cheeky and aggressive and looking to find those picks. At times, actually very successful with that too. I actually think, yeah, this is intriguing. And Nate on the Flores, we've seen that has been impactful. Kind of expect it to be impactful once again here, especially with Basement being...
Oh.
He's moving too quick. He'd have to literally be standing still. So it looks like we're going to be redoing this round again. We're back again, unfortunately. Seems as if someone actually picked the wrong operator, so we're just going to have to redo that one. But hey, it's us. Wanting to see this overtime just as much as you guys as well, so thank you for bearing with us. I just want to see who wants to. I just want to see who wins this game.
This is how we build drama artificially in APAC South, right? Instead of going through the match as you traditionally would, we just have a couple of re-hosts, make the audience sit there and wait. I mean, the positive. I love to look at things at a glass full perspective, Jake. And the thing is, with more re-hosts, that means that the broadcast goes for longer, which means that you folks at home. Well, it's not only the suspense, but you guys at home have more opportunities to gain your packs, which is really awesome. In fact, right now, I have my laptop next to me. I'm actually going to open the stream up and start claiming my packs because I've been really lazy this second stage, and I think I've gotten maybe one pack in the first, 3 weeks. So.
Me too, actually. I don't even think I'm down. I need this stage because I did every single one for stage 1. Literally, I'm not even joking. I actually tweeted
you did better
out.
than me, stage 1.
Yeah. Look, we've already kind of gone over all of the nitty-gritty for this overtime. We've gone over predictions. We've gone over everything. At this point, I think we're just going to go to a quick break. That way, when we do come back, we can get into this overtime.
Baby, you think a little too small. I got big goals, baby. Hey, where the money at? Look, I just need the info. Pronto, I go and get it and split it with my kinfolk daily. And I'm the type of that might change my number on you. Yeah, that's how you react when people took a slumber on you. Pretty brown skin, baby, I can see the summer on you. You see all the bread, and I know it make you wonder, don't you? Ooh, I ain't surprised at all. Seen them rise and fall. Went up the mountain, it wasn't hard to climb at all. At the top, I found some relief. I finally got some peace. Carry on, but please don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. No, I need it, beat it, before you mess up the mood. Yeah, ooh, I worked too hard for it, and I need it, so please don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Yeah, I worked too hard for it. Yeah, don't mess up the mood. Oh, it's so crucial, I gotta keep it. It's in you like it up at the top. It's a better view, isn't it? I'm not surprised at all. No, it ain't what you need. Come on, just pay the fee. I supply it all. Went up the mountain and it wasn't hard to climb at all. At the top, I found some relief, you see. So please don't mess up the mood. Yeah. I worked too hard for it. No, I need it, beat it, boy. You mess up the mood. Alright. Ooh, I worked too hard for it. And I need it, so please don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Don't mess up the mood. Yeah. Oh, come on. I worked too hard for it. Yeah. Don't mess up the mood.
Hey yo, the rain was steady pouring, heard the drops and drizzle meant to be. Chilling in my crib, no doubt. Peep the scenery. Telephone rang, then it stopped before I could answer it. I heard a knock at the door, so I answered it. And with Jermaine, he had a little situation. Beef up on the block, and orthodox that led the confrontation. He said these cats be acting hard on the block, and they be pumping weight and holding, so Dwayne got shot. Now see, Dwayne was just a knucklehead, but still with his cousin. And I'd be wrong if I ain't help him when his beef, he gon' rush. And he said, listen, homie, ain't no time for discussion. Motherfucking pressure's rising and it's boiling the bustin'. So if you with me, then you with me, nigga, make a decision.
Thanks for bearing with us, ladies and gentlemen, as we get back into this overtime matchup between Elevate and Order. Enough funny business, enough mucking around. Let's get into it and see who can take home the points.
I'm not going to get too excited yet until we've actually played out the first 30 seconds, and then I'll know for sure that we won't go back to us.
You've got to believe, guys. You've got to believe that we can get through this round.
Okay, alright. I have faith.
Attackers
I
need to
have faith.
locate
I was
and
let down before, but I will not again. Well, we do find ourselves, of course, back down below. Operators locked in, and it's the first round of overtime between these two. If you are just joining us, it was a hard-fought 12 rounds, and Elevate managed to bring back a really dire final round in regulation to head it to overtime. Order looking to get their first win on the board for stage number 2, and Elevate, the reigning champs, looking to bring a devastating start to this stage back into their grasp. So hold on. No doubt this will be an exciting conclusion to Consort.
Yeah, and look, just speaking truthfully here, but both teams have almost had about 10 minutes roughly to sort of just adjust and reset a little bit. All sort of momentum kind of goes out to the window, and it's a fresh start, which I think probably favors Elevate, especially here on the defense. Order at some point would have been playing very much off instinct and adrenaline and all of that, and that's now all out the window. So for Order, I think they've got to make sure that they're mentally switched on for this round, coming in on the attack and making sure they don't slip up. And whoever can sort of, I guess, come out of this little mini break that we've had better gets this match point and technically overtime match point
Or Napier.
moving forward.
Napier, aggressive at the breach. Considers swinging wide. Needs to be careful. He still has a nitro cell in hand that could prove to be really useful for the plant denial. I think Order know he's there. They do. The yellow ping. Specker follows it up with a frag, and that aggression from Napier is punished. It's a strong start for Order.
Yeah, and it's a questionable move from Napier as well, because by sitting in that position, if he gets spotted, which obviously he was, he can't get out of that. There's just too many eyes on his position. There's no way he gets out of that little corner, and a nice early pick for Order. That's going to make things just that little bit easier. And they will take every advantage that they can get here on the attack for Consulate.
Now, though, Order need to convert this advantage, which, for the most part, they've done a good job. When they get the opening pick, they do have a great conversion rate in terms of winning the round. So have 6 drones in hand as well. That will prove useful in finding these 4 remaining defenders, as it does appear as if Order will set up for a more traditional and more, I guess, basic setup here over towards Garage. Jack Daddy has the diffuser in hand as they start thinking about where and when they'll go for this plant.
And they've already got that opening pick, so if it does come down to a trade fest, then they can sort of go off that a little bit. Prepare to, trade lives back and forth. They'll have that advantage. Specker taking low over towards the bottom of yellow stairs. Elevate, of course, need to be cautious that they don't give away any more lives. Sapper, be careful. ECH with a nice little angle, and Jack Dad's in though. He's going to be able to stick this plant down now through the smokes. Elevator not going to be able to see anything, and it's Nate who finds the pick. Nico now getting aggressive, spots a player at the side of White Fan, goes for the feet. He just keeps ducking and weaving, but eventually Nico will come finding and he gets the kill. DCH with the Nitro Cell, he's been big on those tonight. But that diffuser is stuck and planted, guys, and now the difficult task awaits Elevate's final two players.
The difficult task, I would say it's almost the impossible task here for Elevate, especially in the 2v3. Sapper can try and tuck in the corner, and can he get the counter defuse? This could make things interesting. Sapper is still sticking, but he gets taken down. Jack Daddy will find that pick. It's rounded out by his teammate, and it's a good start in overtime for Order.
Well, I mean, they've got overtime match point. OT does not go for very long, so a good start usually can translate to a good finish. 2 chances for Order to close out and get 2 points. They, of course, had the opportunity earlier with the original regulation match point where they were in a winnable position and succumbed to the Elevate pressure. Now Order on the defense will try and do what Elevate couldn't, and that is defend Cafeteria and Garage down in basement here on Consulate. Elevate, only 1 point gain from this. Will it be 1 or 2? We'll find out shortly.
Ooh, you know things are going to get spicy when Elevate bring out the Finker, particularly in the hands of Onigiri. Sure, it can be a little bit of a pocket pick, but for Elevate, on some occasions it can be a bit of a staple. In fact, I'm surprised we haven't seen much of it else outside of, I mean, we haven't seen it at all outside of this round. So expect Elevate to maybe play a little bit more aggressive off the back of that. No smoke in play from Order, so no counter. In fact, I don't know if that got changed. I know that smoke canisters used to do more damage if you were boosted. I have a feeling that might have gotten changed, maybe it didn't. Either way though, Order need to stay on their toes because Onigiri can go absolutely huge and of course boost the rest of the team.
Well, it also depends on how Elevate are going to want to play this. So they just go super rush mode, force it early, don't allow Order to set up too much defensively later in the rounds. If Order can find an opening pick, does that shut down Elevate's plan of attack almost immediately? We are seeing this first floor bathroom defensive hold with the mirror from Bailey. So Order setting up above. That's where they do have to be careful. And you touched on it with the Onigiri and that Finker. If there's some sort of rush that does take place, Order need to be in a good position to be able to counter that.
Yeah, we have seen Elevate struggle on this attack. Oh, an awkward engagement to kick things off over towards anti-chain, but neither player taking damage. But as I was saying, Elevate have struggled. They've not really committed to above. They've also struggled to commit to a full garage take. They've kind of been stuck in the middle. Order have done a really good job in those previous rounds to, I guess, discombobulate Elevate to some extent and make them feel really uncomfortable. So maybe we'll see Elevate commit more to above here and force themselves to clear out those mirror windows. Again, though, not really getting that impression. Sure, there's more drones up there, but they haven't really got any boots on the ground just yet. As I say that, though, Onigiri does have the entry over towards circle.
And it has Napier close by. I think Nico's actually over towards Visa. Could actually come in from behind both of them later on in the round, unless I saw it wrong. I did see it wrong. No surprise. Minute and a half. Sometimes those pesky outlines can get the better of us, guys.
Yeah, can be a bit like that. Again, though, it's Elevator just slow. It's just weird. Normally we expect Elevate to be aggressive, get in the face of their opponents, yada yada yada, but they are struggling at the moment, and part of that is this really creative and quite defensive setup above here from Order with those castle barricades, etc., making things tough, but Elevate just don't look particularly comfortable. They're not really engaging in meaningful gunfights. They're not using their utility like those Finker boosts to just go for sends and try and find picks. Order are doing a great job in shutting them down completely, and they're not even having to play that aggressive.
But this is where Order's also got to be careful. You know, if they start to push out and try and find these engagements, if they're in positions, Elevate that is, that Order don't have the information on, they can catch them off guard. They can get these picks. Order were expecting them to sort of come in, you know, through yellow stairs or, you know, the garage doors. And, well, Elevate have changed their plan of attack. They've adjusted, like we've seen them do in this series already. 5 versus 2. This round's over, guys. It's over. We're going to a 15th. That was clean from Elevate in the end. You know, you were throwing out words like struggling. I was throwing out words like slow. Well, now they're throwing out words like flawless for Elevate. 1 round to go.
Wow, what a change up there from Elevate. The previous 2 attacks on that objective, as I mentioned, were pretty devastating for Elevate. But they changed things up. They cleared out that roam above, and they did it very well. It's a flawless round to send themselves in to round 15. This one is going right down to the wire.
And probably deserved as well, because both teams, I mean, it's been hard to separate them. As I said, 3-3 in the first half, 3-3 in the second half, 1-1 in overtime. Back and forth. Both teams look good on the attack. Both teams look good on the defense. And yet someone has to walk away with only 1 point, and the other team gets to walk away with 2 points. Doesn't seem fair. And it all just comes down to this one final round. Order on the attack, Elevate on the defense.
Oh, it doesn't get much closer than this. Up above we go. Elevate looking to try and close this one out. At least get 2 points on the board. It's not the most ideal result for them, but considering the circumstances surrounding this match and the struggles they've encountered, I'm sure they'd be happy with that result. On the flip side, Order on the attack. They kick things off well in overtime to win their first attack. Maybe, just maybe, they can back that up here again up above.
10 seconds left.
How aggressive will Elevate get though? That's the question that I want answered. We haven't seen that super aggressive playstyle on the defense, like we saw in Playday 1 against the Knights, where they were relentlessly spawn killing. It has been more measured, but maybe this is the time that they try and catch their opponents off guard.
Final round. Of course, a reminder, we still have 1 game to play after this for APAC South. Playday 3, Chiefs and Invictus Gaming to follow this one. Not sure how it will follow it in terms of quality, but we'll follow it. Onigiri extraordinarily low as well to start this 15th and final round. And yeah, we're not seeing that same aggressive nature from Elevate. They are playing it a bit more calm on their defensive side, and hard to sort of make of it because it hasn't necessarily been bad by any means, guys. It's just been different.
Order looking to try and clear yellow stairs. Flashes will be used to clear those projectile denials, and Specker outside the window has a grenade prepped and ready to go. That does fly in. Angry X manages to avoid it though. Nico though tries to cut him off, but either way the Jaeger wins that engagement. Specker too late there on the refrag, unable to find that pick, and now Napier can try to assist that player outside on benches. Doesn't cut him off. It's an unfortunate start here for Order. Elevate doing a really good job.
Elevate have that man advantage with 1.5 minutes left of this final round. Specker, though, you got the high advantage as well over Napier. He's able to play that perfectly, gets that kill. Suddenly things shape up to be equal again for Order. 4 versus 4. Remembering that Onigiri is really low. Angry X just around that halfway health mark. Specker with another kill. He's had some big moments here in Consulate. None bigger than that one yet, though, as they have now got the advantage. But they've been in this position before, guys. In regulation. Regulation match point. They were up, I think, 3-2 players remaining, and they lost it from there. This time, can they hold on?
Feels very, very similar. And with 50 seconds to go, Order don't have a whole lot of wriggle room to flail around. Still many dangerous players up here for Elevate. Onigiri, despite being low on HP, he could have an impact. DCH as well. And I mean,
Nate.
Don't discount Sapper on the clash as well. This is be tough for Order. If they find one more pick, the round will be theirs, but they haven't been able to find it yet with 30 seconds left.
And I know, of course, Specker low, top of yellow stairs. The clash making it difficult, but it is Specker time. He has got 3 in the round. Coming up when they need him the most. 20 seconds left on the clock. Jackdad, Diffuser, where are you? Get moving, just in case. Bailey swings, he gets the kill. DCH got him back, but it is all over. Jack Daddy with the final kill in the final round. It is a massive victory for Order, and it will kickstart their APAC South season with a win. 2 points gained for Elevate. They drop another bunch of points.
Oh, what a result there from Order. It was a close matchup. It was hard fought by both teams, but Order just edging out in the end, not only do they get their first points in Stage 2, but it's also their first dub on the board as well. And it has felt like this has been a long time coming for Order, and they finally managed to do it.
Yeah, and very much almost feels like commiserations there for Elevate because they have to walk away as losers. But, I mean, that was such a close, tight affair between both of the two teams. And yet only one can walk away as winners. Order definitely deserving that one, though, in the end. Spectre coming up big, not only in that final round, but really the match and the game as a whole, guys. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, was seeing him stand up, be at the forefront, and make some big plays throughout the entire game.
Yeah, Specker definitely stepping up to the occasion. He was the man of the hour, and unfortunately, due to the rehost, the stats not fully reflective there at the end, but he was having a huge impact in that last round. I mean, if you want to narrow it down to just that, it was a huge couple of impact plays from him to close it out for Order. So I assume we have the interview with him coming up, and I'm sure it's going to be an absolute banger.
That was a bit of a long one. We're going to throw it back over to the desk, and we'll see how they can break it down.